Hello, everybody. My name is Ken Clark. I'm the editor at Hardware and Building Supply Dealer, and this is our one-on-one video series with Steve Swinney. Steve, can you say hello to our audience?
Hey, afternoon, Ken. How you doing?
You might have recognized Steve from the latest cover story where we featured Kodiak Building Partners. And we said that Steve Swinney leads a fast-growing consolidator. How? One acquisition at a time. Did we get that part right?
You got it right.
One of the interesting things about our coverage is that so much has happened at Kodiak Building Partners since I came home from that series of interviews with you and your staff. Diamond Home Improvement was acquired. You made a lot of changes in your various brands as far as leadership goes. Then I saw today you announced a golf tournament for charity, yes, which is to your credit. Could you talk us through kind of how you finished the year and what you're looking forward to in early 2023?
Yeah. So we did finish. We had a busy end of the year, both in the business, but also on the acquisition front. As you said, we had Diamond, like you said, that came in right at the end of the year, I think in December. Goodrich, which was a little bit earlier than that, kind of the other end of the country in the Northeast, but finished a really good string for us. We did 7 acquisitions in 2022. And then we're excited about a new year here in 2023. And as you said, I'm super excited about this golf tournament that we just announced today and have been working on. This is really our whole charitable giving approach. It's something we've always done, but like a lot of things at Kodiak, we did them in a very locally led and very organic way, and not a lot of necessarily organization around it for several years. And a couple of years ago, we set up our foundation just before COVID hit, which was incredibly fortunate for us because one of the things we did in that was launch an employee assistance fund. And that's been a great vehicle, certainly through COVID, to work with our team members when they come up with some unique needs. But now being able to focus on expanding the foundation to our outward efforts in our communities that we operate in around the country has been a lot of fun the last few years. And now rolling out the golf tournament, which is going to be an incredible opportunity for us for a few days to have some fun with mostly our vendor partners, but at the same time, all of us raise some money for some great causes that we support locally around the country. So yeah, really excited about that.
I think I can speak for our audience that we're all excited to participate in the golf outing and contribute where we can.
We'll have to get you out there, Ken.
One of the challenges of profiling a company as diverse as yours is to condense everything into 4 or 5 pages. We took an approach. We looked at some of the what makes you different at Kodiak Building Partners. We came up with the 3 Ds. I wonder for your thoughts on that. We thought decentralization, diversification, and due diligence, which is actually 4 Ds if you count them all up. But what were your thoughts on that? Do you think that was an appropriate way to describe how you differ from other consolidators and other people in the industry?
Yeah, and I don't want to say, listen, everyone's unique in their own way, and it's not like any of these things are something that some of our competitors and other people in other industries and businesses are doing. But I do think those are really critical things about us: the decentralization and really that locally led concept and driving collaboration amongst our operations. I think that is it is something that we think is really core to our success. As you said, diversity. I mean, we started out, I know we talked about this, coming out of ProBuild, which was really super focused on that single family production builder and metro markets. We love that business. We're in that business today. But we really did want to build something that had a lot more balance to it. That, when you got to markets like we're in now, where we are seeing recession, we are seeing declines in housing starts, trying to build a business that would be a little bit more resilient to those kind of conditions was something that was definitely very core to what we wanted to do and what we continue to want to do. And then the due diligence, we really we see a lot of value in truly getting to know the partners that we end up joining with through the acquisition process. And we think that the due diligence process and really understanding who we're partnering with. And I would say, as you and I talked about, the due diligence, yes, we all have to do the numbers due diligence, but I think the piece that's so critical for us is really the relational due diligence, getting to know each other, making sure that we've got a good cultural fit together, making sure that we're aligned on where we want to go and how we want to operate, how we want to treat our people and develop them, how we want to partner with our customers and vendors. Those are the things in our due diligence process that I think are most critical to our success in that part of the business.
And you used the word partner there a couple of times. That was part of my next question. We quoted you in the article saying partner is the most important word in your title or your name, your company name, Kodiak Building Partners. We don't really go into where the word Kodiak comes from. Share that real quick.
First of all, you're right. The partners part it may not be the flashiest part of the name, but it is the most important. It is intended to describe how we want to go about doing business with every part of an organization, whether it's vendors and customers, to our employees, to our investors, our bankers, on and on and on. That is a critical part for us. Kodiak, we again, all of us that started Kodiak came from ProBuild. We're out here in Denver. We love the outdoors. Paul really well.
You're referring to Paul Hilbert.
Yeah, Paul Hilbert, great outdoorsman. And so we really liked having something that reflected, the outdoors that we all really enjoy in our personal lives. And we landed on Kodiak. We were sitting in the Barton Supply conference room, actually after the deal had closed, and we landed on the Kodiak piece, really as kind of something that reminded all of us of one of the old Swinney building supply locations up in Alaska, in Kodiak, Alaska. And just all the unique dynamics of that location, the outdoors, wilderness, kind of the frontier, and really creating something new here was really where the Kodiak name came from.
One of the interesting quotes from the article also deals with synergies. I thought it was kind of surprising that you mentioned that you weren't all about synergies at first, because you liked the company, you would acquire them, and you would let them do what they're good at doing. Synergies could come later. But recently you hired Scott Morrison in the title of Continuous Improvement Officer. I think that's his Chief Continuous Improvement Officer or Director of Continuous Improvement. Does that change how you look at synergies, or will that change how you kind of talk about synergies?
It really doesn't. And maybe this is a nuance. I mean, when I think of that synergy conversation, I kind of typically think of, well, you're going in and saying, well, okay, as soon as we get this deal closed, we're going to do this, and this, and that's going to create some, reduction in expenses, increase in margin, increase in earnings, whatever the case may be. And you're right. We don't really go in with that kind of outward goal. I mean, do we think that we're going to get better together? Absolutely. And do we want to do that? Absolutely. But it's for us, it's much more of an organic process. And I would say adding Scott and what the incredible things he brings to the organization, it isn't about now creating some new program that we're going to hoist on a new acquisition the day of closing. It's about us continuing to really increase our offering that we can bring to operating companies, and to say, here's something else that's available to you as you continue to drive your business forward. I think it's much more about that than the former of like, okay, here's the great things we're going to do with your business now that we got you. I think it's much more about how do we create resources for these great local operators so that they can just pick and choose and grab the things that work for them and grab the things that are going to add value to them as leaders. And it really goes back to really our vision statement of creating a culture that empowers local leaders to succeed in the communities they serve. And so Scott is really just one more way for us to empower those local leaders to succeed.
Well, Steve, we certainly appreciate your thoughts, and thanks for talking to us on this follow-up of our cover story. You can check out our cover story in the January issue of Hardware and Building Supply Dealer. We'll send you a few copies. Thanks very much for talking to us.
Thank you, Ken.